Well, hello, it's Claudia, your vintage and antique friend, and today I thought on this snowy day, let's talk a little bit about cameos. One of these, and for that, I'm going to turn the camera around. So what are actually cameos, and what is all the craze about them? So a cameo is actually a raised carving, you can see that here on the side, that is of a person, an animal, or a landscape. And quite often these raised carvings are in this case actually coral, shell, onyx, agate, you name it. So it has to be a true cameo, a carved piece. So often they're mounted in gold, in silver, and other metals. They are worn as brooches, pendants, well, rings in this case, even as dress clips, earrings, bracelets, you name it. And they've been around since Sumerian times, which is 3100 BC, loved by Romans and Victorians, and of course us today. Keep looking for part 2. So are you ready for part 2 on what to consider when you are choosing your cameo? And for that, let's turn the camera around again. So first of all, it should be said that it's important to look at the cameo and decide which way it's facing. So this particular cameo is facing right, whilst this one is facing left. Left-facing cameos are far rarer than right-facing cameos, and from my research have been attributed to left-handed artists. Another thing to consider is when you have a straight-facing cameo. So those are definitely rarer than right-facing. Then the subject matter. In this case, we have a lot of women, and non-subjects like just a lady's portrait or men's portrait are much, much rarer and therefore more valuable. Another thing to consider is the nose. You heard me correctly. So earlier noses, the straight nose, also known as the classic Roman nose, tell us that the cameo is indeed older. If you see a cameo with a more upturned nose, well, then it is probably most likely laser cut. But that's it for part 2. So what we did not discuss was how can you tell if a cameo is a hand-carved cameo or, as a matter of fact, just a faux cameo, which is a razor cameo, because we did establish that cameos have to be carved out of shell or precious stone to be cameos. Well, that's actually really easy, so let me show you, but for that we need a little source of light. So what you want to do is you want to hold your cameo against light, and in this case we do not see any carving shining through, which literally tells us this is not a hand-carved real cameo. Still a pretty cameo and used often as shown as cameo, but not what you as a collector may be wanting. So when we now look through the light of a hand-carved shell cameo, we can immediately see translucent, which tells us this, yes, is indeed a shell-carved real cameo. So wasn't that really easy? And something that you can just do with a little bit of sunlight or daylight. So let me know, do you want to know more about cameos? There is so much more that I would love to share with you. Let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And yes, these are all available on my website, themarialvacollection.com. See you soon.